Hello and welcome to Modern Toy Fair. I am your host, Mr. Modern Toy Fair, and I am joined by the founder of the Neck Illuminati, the delayer of shipments, the YouTube wife, Mrs. Modern Toy Fair, Jarmar _ Games. But that's not all. I am also joined by the man Modern Toy Fair has full custody over. The man Optimus Prime popped and he refuses to stop. The Twilight Knight. The three-pump chump of taking this show off the rails. The master of Mac. Nate. How you guys doing this week?
I
I'm doing
feel
great.
though at this point I can't live up to those words because it's such a lofty goal each week to take the show off the rails within three pumps.
That's very fair. So maybe eventually it'll be like, 4 pumps or 5 pumps.
I got to get them back up there.
Yeah.
I gotta get those pumps
Or-
back up there. Working on those pumps.
You might just last the entire podcast. You know, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a while. That's gonna need some cardio.
Yeah.
That or,
Yeah.
we live in a modern era. There is modern medicine to help you keep on track.
I don't think that would stop you from getting tired unless you're doing cocaine.
There it is. Cocaine.
I think most
The
people
real-
do that at the same time, right?
I don't think you're supposed to do that and Viagra at the same time. I think that's frowned upon.
Really?
I don't think that doesn't sound right.
I wonder what
Right.
Jamar's been doing. It sounds exciting.
I just feel like, someone has to test it out and find out and report back next week. So
Rock, paper, scissors after the show. But on that
Somebody
note,
get me some Viagra.
which
you
actually,
know.
just to point out, that was a good way of taking the show off the rails.
It was.
oh wow, took him a little more than 3 pumps. But
Yeah.
anyway, so this week we are going to be talking about the Hasbro Haslab HISS tank.
Wow.
I almost
There
thought
was
I
so
was on the
much.
wrong. I thought I was on the wrong podcast. I was like, holy shit! I didn't know you guys do crazy,
Oh, you
non-appropriate things.
have you not seen Dodgeball?
I mean, I've seen Dodgeball,
I've seen it.
but that was what 2000.
It's still that's what was like one of the best second best Ben Stiller movie moments in the whole movie is like him and the team
That's
come out
fair.
and they're doing the
Yeah.
the entire
No, I've seen it. I love it. I don't remember that kind of stuff.
Man,
I
I was
just thought
so
you were,
excited. I was so excited about that
Hell
joke
Hydra
all
moment or
fucking
something.
week, and you guys just killed it.
I'm so sorry. Do you want to re-record?
No, it's
Do you want to
fine.
take it back? 'Cause
You know
I'll
what?
do something like this. Oh!
No,
That was from the
Just
hit
edit it in
movie Dodgeball, one of Ben Stiller's
Yeah.
God,
Best
I hate you
moment.
both.
in the movie.
I absolutely hate
wait.
you both.
I'm just glad he said second best moment in the movie because we were gonna. I didn't understand what we were gonna have to do because he's had so many great
Oh yeah,
things, including Zoolander, which is up there.
yeah.
One
Yeah.
of the,
But
my
this isn't
favorites of all
OnlyFigs,
time.
so we're not talking about Ben Stiller. So Nate, I'm gonna let you
Oh, okay.
take over since you are Mr. GI Joe of the group, and
Yeah.
let's talk about some HISS tank.
Let's talk about this. So this was revealed actually kind of by accident. I think last Monday it was put on Hasbro Pulse. There was a description that said Cobra HISS tank and a price of $299.99. So it kind of let the cat out of the bag. But it officially launched on the 29th, which I believe was only last Wednesday at this point. There was a live stream where they showed it off, showed off the idea, kind of showed off some different things. I'm kind of making that part up because I didn't watch it. I was not where I could be, and I got all the information afterwards, so I didn't feel like I needed to watch it. But either way, they did reveal that the new Haslab project was going to be a Cobra, G.I. Joe classified Cobra HISS tank. And the HISS tank, you know what? I was going to remember what HISS stand for, and I don't remember. Because like I just said, I don't remember these kinds of things. And I know that makes me a bad G.I. Joe fan or whatever, but fine. I don't care. I
Man, the
don't.
Facebook groups
I
are
have-
losing their shit right now.
Yeah.
Wait,
I had all the
so-
comic books. I read a bunch of shit. Like, I can't remember it all. Either way,
Oh man.
something system.
Is Jamar trying to Google
Hydraulic.
it to prove?
No, I was gonna say it's
Hydraulic,
hyper intuitive super system.
Are you just making
what it
that
is?
up?
Yeah, that's why I
Oh,
wanted.
okay.
Oh,
I want to
okay.
take a guess. I don't think at all that's close.
Oh, probably not.
Well, you know what?
I would
You
assume
probably got
hydraulic is one of the words, though. I think
yeah.
hydraulic makes
Because you got to think this came out in 1982, but at the same time, there really isn't any hydraulics in it except for the rail guns. Either way, let's bring it back. So the
That's
HISS
two
tank
pumps.
is a kind of a fan favorite. It's one of the early vehicles. It's a 1982, 83 era vehicle originally. So it was one of the first, if not the first, Cobra vehicle that came out, and it was a all black tank that came with a HISS driver that had a canopy on the front, much like you see on the classified version, but still was a lot smaller. And it had a little turret in the back where you could put another figure as well as some peg on the back end, so you could actually peg figures into the back so they could look like they were
Well,
holding
they
on
were
and
into
stuff like
pegging.
that.
Huh.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no, they
I
did
can't believe
pegging.
what y'all-
They were one of the first to do pegging. I mean, we're talking 82.
Pioneer.
So now Star Wars did some pegging, but GI Joe kind of kept the pegging going.
Well, Star
So-
Wars
in
did
the
have the
rear.
extendable bits, so
Yes, they were the first ones to do the extendable bits, and then there was some pegging, but the apparatus was different because you had to squeeze it and then put it in, whereas later on it was more of like a simple like injection molded, fully you could just push it right on it and it was fine. So that was that, and it was a tank, and it's come out in multiple versions over the years. I think the most recent one was from GI Joe Retaliation. So that was from, what was that, 2011, 2012? So I mean, it's been 10 years since there's been a HISS tank on the market, and we are getting our first classified vehicle, full vehicle. The motorcycles, I don't think truly count. I guess they do, but there's been two motorcycles that have been released so far, with a third on the way, which they're fine, they're cool, but this is much more substantial. And with that substantialness comes a substantial price.
yes.
But
Which I'm very shocked that people were okay with.
at $299.99, so you gotta think about this for a second. This is actually one of the lower priced Haslabs.
Mm-hmm.
And those typically do very well, the lower end ones, lower tier price ones. So I don't remember. I think the Rancor was $350.
It was 350 or 400, I thought. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
and
I
I
know it
think
was enough that people were very
remember-
upset.
Yeah, and a lot of people were saying, "Hey, $299 I could have done." So I think $299 is that magic number. That's less than Super 7 was charging for their van. It's about $50 more than what NECA's charging for their van. So on that large vehicle size, that, and it is I don't want to jump too far ahead. So $299.99 was the price, and as it was announced, it would come with the HISS driver, which is a totally new sculpt. It's a brand new figure based on the original vintage style HISS driver, which was very cool. And you got to think about that right off the bat. Like, that's $25 value right there. I mean, we're just talking value, not necessarily retail, or not necessarily cost, but value. So, I mean, that it kind of makes it a little bit easier. And you got to remember, and I want people to think back, Rogue One was 2016. And I'm not saying this was a great vehicle by any means, but I don't remember what I think it was ATTP, something like that. I don't know. It was the AT-AT version from Rogue One. Was available at some retail stores, and it was $299.99. That was a retail item, and that thing was a piece of shit. Like, it was really a piece of shit. It was very flimsy, cheap plastic, just not what, especially Star Wars fans now we're used to. But at the time, we were not used to something that looked this bad. It did not sell well at all. I actually picked one up on clearance. I think I paid $75 for it.
Damn,
when
that's
it was
a hell
all
of a
said
fucking
and done.
knockdown.
Yeah.
It is. And then later on I sold the figures that came out of it, because there was 2 exclusive figures, and I sold those for more than that. So what are you gonna do? So I had it for free. But anyway, so $299.99 comes with the figure. It lights up. It has sounds. The LED light thing is very cool. taking that out, could that have reduced the cost a little bit? Yeah, probably. Maybe $50 or so. But honestly, if it was like $50,
Yeah, $50. I
I
feel like
would
that's
kinda
one of the
want
few
that in there.
occasions where I'm like, give me the
yeah,
gimmicks. Like, this isn't
yeah,
Mezco
yeah,
being like, let's give a character light up eyes. This is a fucking tank that has a light up center console, fucking lights and the headlights
yeah.
and
And
shit. Like,
it propels a Cobra symbol to the floor,
mm-hmm.
which is pretty damn cool, or the table or shelf or wherever you got it on. So that was the original offer as it went up on Wednesday. Now they also said they needed 8,000 subscribers or buyers to lock in before August 15th. So the end of the day, August 15th. But they also threw something else out there, which I thought was kind of cool, that if they were able to fund within the first week, which would take it from to July 7th, they would do what was called an early bird option. So they were going to include a second figure,
Mm-hmm.
basically a repaint of the HISS driver, which was then going to be called the HISS Tactician, and it was going to have color schemes designed by Ron Rudat, which was an original GI Joe designer. For someone like myself, I may not remember what HISS stands for, but I do know who Ron Rudat is and the contributions that he's done, overall to
That's
the
impressive.
yeah.
Like, you don't remember what the acronym is, but you remember like the artists and shit. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
impressive.
I did not meet Ron Rudat specifically, but I know someone who works with him. I'm friends with someone who works with him a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I've gotten to meet other designers over the years. Like I had, like at JoeCon, I had dinner one night with the guy who designed my favorite vehicle ever for GI Joe.
Man,
It's my favorite Joe vehicle. And I'm like, that's like a cool experience that you don't get in other hobbies necessarily. And yeah, maybe at this point I don't remember his name. This was 8 years ago, but you know what? I had a great time. I got to talk to him about it. I got to tell him how much it meant to me, and he got to tell me where he came up with his ideas and stuff like that. It was very cool. So yeah, that kind of stuff kind of sticks in there more than just what does HIT stand for or how many missiles came with a particular vehicle or something like that. But I kind of scoffed at that. I'm like, a week, they barely got the Sky Striker funded, but that's just GI Joe. Classified is a whole different beast,
mm-hmm.
and I learned that very quickly, actually within 8 hours, because it was fully funded with 8,000 buyers by later that evening. So funded within the first day. I don't think any other Haslab has done that. Not even the Razor Crest, which was breaking records pretty early.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think any of them funded within the first day. And not only did it fund within the first day, it blew through its first tier, I think even before they officially announced it.
Yeah,
or if
I'm
they
pretty
did,
sure too, because I was vaguely following it on Twitter, and that's kind of what I
Yeah.
noticed was there was a lot of like, oh, we've already hit this. I can't wait to see what the stretch goal actually is. Blah blah blah, kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stop here and just kind of get your guys' reaction at just the tank itself, the price point, and the fact that it did fund fully within the first 8 hours.
So I obviously don't have much history with like the Haslab stuff. There hasn't really been anything that's like completely spoken to me. But what's the average like amount of backers? Is 8 like a normal amount, or was this
Between
lower?
5 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this was kind of like on the higher end for
is
backers, and it blew through it that fast.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty sick. And this is because this is, when you say classified, it's because it's the 6-inch like scale, because there hasn't been one this large, is what you're saying, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the first, because like I said, the only other vehicles they've done for this line have been motorcycles, which, looking at the way Michael looked at me, I'm going to include them as vehicles.
It's technically a vehicle.
It is. No, you're 100% right. This is just the first thing that's substantial.
Yeah.
That really...
It's something that's not like $40 at Target.
Right.
Right.
All right. I dig it. I wish it was something that was like exciting for me, but like it's cool to see this on the opposite end, because I think the last time we talked about Haslab was the Rancor, and it was more of like, not from the negative perspective, because if I recall right, we were more so like not scalding people for being assholes, but kind of more so discussing it as
Um,
like a sense of
That was
like,
definitely our take on it. We were like,
yeah, we
yeah, if
weren't
it's
like,
not for you, but like people were being, I
oh
think they
yeah,
were being ridiculous.
yeah.
But it was
People
Star
were
Wars,
definitely
yeah,
going like too far, but that yeah, like he
which
said, Star Wars fans.
that's what I almost wonder too. This like again, this is Star Wars Haslab, because didn't they announce a Star Wars one? Or I saw something like
There's a
a
so you can
Reva
get
there
the
is.
lightsaber
saber.
replica from the Hasbro line, which isn't like the Force effects or the Disney like level replicas, and it's what isn't it 300 as well, or is it 400?
Holy crap!
It's 500.
Fucking hell,
Holy
yeah, it's
crap!
five so
So
500, and it's yeah.
it's the Reva lightsaber.
Yeah, which
So it's the Force Effects third sister Reva lightsaber for $499.99. Just there's a couple things wrong with this one. First of all, one, I just don't think those Force Effect lightsabers are the dream projects that people are wanting. Like
Yeah.
they've been making a ton of them, so they haven't really been denied much. And although I like the lightsaber, I like the character. It's a brand new character. This is not an
Yeah.
iconic piece. It looks similar to the Inquisitors, but even at that point, the Grand Inquisitor has not hit that level.
right.
Yeah,
right.
these
As a
aren't
character,
these aren't like characters that have been around forever and we never got their
Yeah.
lightsaber. These are ones literally a month old.
Yes.
And they're like, "Hey, look at this. Spend $500." And people were like, "No, I think I'm good."
Right. Even though, like, because I think even the regular ones are like around 150 now. I think that's about what they're coming out
150,
for.
200
So
is usually
yeah, so
Yeah,
even like if you
499,
double that, that's 400. 500 seems a lot
Yeah.
for this.
which I mean,
Well,
realistically, I think Darth Maul's was like 3 or 350 and his is a double
Okay.
bladed. So,
And that was probably a much higher production number because it is
yes.
Darth Maul.
Mhm.
And this is going to be much lower, so it's going to be more expensive. So I'm not
That's
saying
fair.
that
Well,
they don't need to charge this. I'm just saying for many people, it's too much.
Yeah, no one's going to spend
Which-
$500 for a lightsaber that
Right.
isn't an iconic character.
Right.
the thing that I guess that where I was getting to is, are these the same teams, or is this like they're
No.
completely separate? Like so, like GI Joe.
They're completely separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
just
Marvel
kinda
Legends,
interesting
GI
that,
Joe,
like,
Star Wars, all separate.
they
Yeah, the
drop
only-
two Haslab, like two products, and then like one is like speaking to the audience, and the other one's like, who's this for? like,
Well,
and
and
just-
it's like last year when there was 3 of them running at the same time.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
and there was some, and one of those was an iconic role play piece, and that's the Ghostbusters one, and that went really well. I think that was one where they offered an early bird, and I think it did
Yeah, you got the
beat the
slime.
goal within a couple days, but it was still a couple of days.
Mhm.
So yeah, as of right now, we're recording this on Wednesday, for this to air on Friday. At this point, it still has 5 days to go, and it only has 1,322 backers of the needed 5,000.
Wow.
So it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I hope the Star Wars teams really go back and rethink what has been successful with Haslab, which has been vintage collection vehicles,
Mhm.
and then what hasn't, which has been large Black Series items and role play items. They're not. That's not what Haslab should be for. And looking at like what GI Joe is doing, and seeing, look at that response. I mean, really think about
Yeah,
that.
that's
8,000
crazy.
buyers within 8 hours. That's 1,000 buyers an hour on average. They snarfed it up, is what they did. And which is, interestingly enough, I did not order mine. I still have not ordered mine thus far, but we'll see what happens. But Michael, did you have any thoughts just up until this point on anything?
I mean, so when they first announced it, I'm like, oh, there's no way this is getting backed. Like all these collectors are like piss and moan anytime anything gets up too high in price. I mean, people even bitched about the $250 for the turtle van from NECA. And ironically, the problems I had with the turtle van from NECA, the HISS tank fixed. They gave it lights and they made the back door open. I'm like, oh well,
Yep.
maybe I should get this and paint it yellow.
Gotta have an open back door.
You gotta.
The back door policy must be open. It's a cheap joke. I understand this. I apologize to the audience, and I am sincerely sorry. But at the same time, you would have taken it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back to you.
But yeah, so I think it's really cool. I'm glad that I'm shocked because the G.I. Joe out of all the fandoms is usually the most toxic. So,
Famously
frugal.
fickle when it comes to money. Frugal. That's
Yes.
the word I wanted, not fickle. Damn it. Frugal. See, I don't remember words. Famously frugal on that end.
I mean, they fucking threw a
many
fit.
Joe-Cons, right.
Yeah, they threw fits when it went from $20 to $25 for the classified stuff. So when I was like, oh, $2.99, no way in hell this is getting funded. And then it just blew up, and I'm like, well, damn. And then it hit me. I'm like, well, maybe some of the other teams will take, note of this and learn from it, especially, Star Wars, who's been struggling, but more so Marvel Legends, which then one of the designers from Star Wars tweeted a picture of him with the Sentinel, and he's like, me and the little one here are just contemplating things after seeing how well the Haslab did for G.I. Joe. And I instantly tweeted, give me a fucking X-Jet!
Yeah, that's another dream project. That's, again, what these should be. So, yes, it blew the doors off the orders within the first 8 hours. Like I said, I don't even think that they got a chance to announce the first tier before it cleared it. So what it needed to have 10,000 backers to get the upgrade 1, which is the 2 removable side-mounted missile racks. So, and this kind of landed with a thud, and because it had already occurred anyway. So they were like, hey, you're getting these. And people were like, fine, okay. I thought they were cool. We're going back to my original argument back on the Rancor show. I personally feel that when you decide to commit to buy the $2.99 needs to be enough of what they've already offered. So anything you get in these tiers is a bonus. I think it's gotten out of hand. I understand Kickstarter. Kickstarter is different. And while this is a crowdfunding platform, this is not Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So for me, like I said, any of these bonuses are nice. It started with the sail barge. It was the first one. It was sluggish to get going. Like, a lot of people maybe don't remember, we were down to the day before it was going to end before it got funded. So, a lot of us were sweating it because we wanted it. But it was early on in that thing that about halfway through, they announced, hey, if it hits, we're going to give you a bonus Yak Face figure on a cool Power of the Force card. That was it. And then when the next one happened, which I believe was it the Sentinel?
I think
so. Was
that
the next one? That one went crazy.
Mm.
And that was the Marvel team. That was their decision to do that. I don't know if, all of this is originally figured into some sort of price and budget and things like that, but they kind of went crazy. What a lot of people don't either remember or know that most Marvel Legends, comic-style Marvel Legends, are pieces or parts are pulled from all over. There's very little new tooling, except for a head here, some hands, that kind of thing. So they were easily able to offer 2 figures, which had, other than the 2 heads, almost no new tooling, and then extra heads for the Sentinel, which I think some of those were already happening. So I think those were kind of more in line with this. But the figures is what really got people going. And then the Galactus really shot it in the foot then, because they offered, I think, 4 figures or 5 once it was all said and done. Which I was like, this is ridiculous now, because other people, the other groups are going to be expected to do the same, and they're not going to do it. So that's what happened with Star Wars. They were eventually basically made it sound like you were going to get 2 figures, but it was too late. It didn't work. So people are like, I don't like this. And then they easily got into the second tier, which I believe was 12,000. Yeah. Which I think was up to 12,000. But yeah, what it was a old style, vintage style canopy and 2 pieces that attached to the side underneath the track to give it a more vintage feel. Again, thought it was cool. Thought it was a nice bonus, for people who want to make it more vintagey or people who want to make it look more modern. But a lot of people were mad with this one. They're like, they don't know what these things are, and I'm like, well, maybe
Do they though?
you
Because
don't
I
know what
feel
these
like
things
that's
are.
100% like that made sense to me when
Yeah.
they were doing this. I'm like, that's what I expect. I'd expect you to do accessories to attach
Yep.
to it, and then stuff to make it look like the old stuff. So that way, especially because they're doing that vintage version of the classified line, so
Right.
people are going to buy those instead of the modern versions and want to still have vehicles for them.
Which,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, you already have the figure. So right at this point, you already have
The bonus
the
one.
pilot. Yeah, you have the
Yeah.
pilot,
Bonus
and then
one.
you have
Yep.
the
The
tactician
tactician.
or
Yep.
whatever. Yeah, so
We're
you
already
already
getting
have
two.
two.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, these aren't like
Right.
knock your sock off kind of situation. Like you're like, cool, 2 plates, but like, yeah, I don't know if it's worth getting. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
So
just
then the
taking it all
third
in.
one, I think they kind of listened because they it was like two. There's another weapon upgrade to the gunning turret, but they actually put a gunner figure included in that. And what was kind of cool about that is it was a female buck
Mm-hmm.
that's then going to have a HISS driver attire. So technically, you could have her as the driver and the dude as the gunner, or you can have her as the gunner and then the driver, and then you can also have the tactician doing whatever. So right now, we've got 3 figures already. So we still got 40 days to go. This is where I'm starting to be like, okay. So what do you guys think about those stretch goals? Jarmar, I'm gonna throw it out to you. Just your overall thoughts.
Well, I feel like I've kind of like already foreshadowed to that. It doesn't seem terrible in the sense of like these are almost, I guess, necessities sort of. So I could see on both sides of like, oh well, shit, you should have had this in there from the beginning. But then I see it as like, cool, we're making these stretch goals of just making it a little bit more spicier each time. Like we're not trying to throw in, you get a car and you get a helicopter with this, but like we're sweetening the deal. So I see it from both angles. I could understand being a little like, oh, well, that's cool. But also there's so many people that have backed these already that they went so fast that it's kind of just like, you didn't even know these existed at this point. So just take what you got, I guess is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, just take it.
Yeah.
Michael?
I 100% agree. I feel like realistically, when you're backing it, you are, especially so early on, you're buying the main product. If you're going into it expecting like, oh, I can't wait, they're gonna give me like so much extra stuff, then you're looking at it through the wrong lens. There are people who wait until they see the what other stuff is, because it might not be worth $300 to them just for the tank, and that's fine. It's your money.
Right.
You decide how you want to spend it.
So it's credit card.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm working on ordering it right now.
Jesus. But yeah, so I think so far everything they've chosen is great. Obviously, as someone who's not a G.I. Joe person, none of it really holds anything to me. But looking at it from just what I know, the extra weapons make sense to have for a tank, especially if it's something that probably had similar items way back when it's been released however many times. The vintage stuff makes even more sense because that's who's buying this shit. It's not like G.I. Joe's being made for fucking 10-year-olds now. It's being made for old dudes who are wanting the toys that they had before, but bigger and better. So a lot of them would rather have, especially considering when Classified first came out, everyone bitched, where they look too modern. Everything is not what I want. I want my old toy just better. They're fucking giving it to you. They're literally giving you the pieces to make your old toy just better. So, I mean, at this point, you've got 3 figures, attachments to make it vintage, bunch of weapons. If you're not happy with this, then fucking cancel your order and go fucking build one yourself.
Yeah. Speaking of which, let me just...
Boop. Where's his password? I need to log in and order some stuff. I need to order myself
I did
one.
have to like push up so I could not show my credit card
information.
Being processed.
It's gonna be like declined. Live here on the show.
Your purchase for 4 backings has been approved.
Yeah.
My question, just real quick, is this is all like
Thank you.
super early, right? Like this is
super early.
Yeah,
like
they're
no
literally
tooling or anything has been done,
We have,
right?
I don't think so.
They do have a a unpainted prototype of the base HISS tank.
Yeah,
Okay,
they don't
okay.
have the actual tooling done because I think they don't want to waste those dollars in case it doesn't fund. But I
Well,
think at this point they're probably going to go ahead
yeah.
and move ahead. But it's a matter of now what are all they going to include with the order? Because once you're done with your point, I want to make a few predictions.
Yeah, the only reason I said it is because a lot of these are attached like on like weapons and stuff. So if it wouldn't have reached these goals, were they just gonna make it with the ability for attachments to be applied, or is it just kind of like, oh, we don't know what
Probably
that was?
not.
Probably no.
Okay,
Because realistically,
That would be my
most
guess.
of the weapons that they're showing off are digital renders. The only thing they have
Mhm.
is they have, like I said, an unpainted prototype that they've like printed there in house. That they used kind of just to show scale, because that's a big problem with a
Yeah.
lot of these like crowdfunded
Yes.
things is you show people measurements means nothing, but if you show them this giant thing on the table next to something small or something big that they might already have, they're gonna be
That's
like,
the
oh
big key,
fuck,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, putting it next to something they already have.
Mm-hmm.
Which in this case, the pictures I saw were the original HISS tank, which I do have,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just so small.
Right,
was so
it was like the
small.
size of one of the the wheels on the the tread
Yeah.
of the.
Which is amazing because you're really only adding like 2 inches or so to the figures. You know,
Oh,
you're going
like
from
how are they
a 3
fitting?
3/4 inch to 6 inch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you wouldn't think, but they're making these that much more realistic.
Yeah, they're making
in
them to scale
the
versus like,
figures.
yeah, back then they
Yeah.
didn't make shit to scale. You were like, oh, it fits in
No.
there, but it's
Squeeze
definitely
them in
not the
there.
size it should be.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. It fit in. That was the biggest part. Everything else, that's on you.
Like, oh, this thing's the size of a minivan compared to these
The
figures.
legs and the figures are like crunched up, but they're
Oh,
in there.
the
Yeah.
worst was the Power of the Force line when you'd have all the characters jacked in these like fucking sprawled out poses, and you had to fit them in the fucking X-wing cockpit. You're like, get in there, you piece of shit.
Because those were all original molds.
Mhm.
The vehicles were all the old 80s molds and stuff. So yeah. So I just want to mention it went from 14,473 backers to 14,474 because I ordered mine. So
Oh, it's real time updates. That's cool.
yeah,
Mhm.
real time updates. Now I wanted to get my order in before the 6th, but that really doesn't mean anything because that was the initial date that they had to hit in order to get the tactician. However, they just needed to be funded by then. Anyone who made an order, no matter when the order was made,
Okay.
will get that figure.
I was going to ask
It's
about
not
that
like
because I know the
Yeah.
backpack for Ghostbusters, the
Yes.
proton pack, that if you didn't order it by the certain date, you didn't get the little slime attachments.
that is correct. I wonder if they got a little bit of blowback from
Oh,
that.
definitely.
Yeah.
So I think maybe they did that, or it was just the decision that this team made. But
Mhm.
they did state that. So if anybody's worried about that, if I'm wrong, that's because I heard it from them. So, but so a couple of things that I think is going to happen because, like I said, we're already at 14,000. They have not yet announced what the next goal is going to be, or I should say, what the next tier is going to be. The goal is 16,000. So we're already only about 1,500 or less than 1,500 away from finding out what that's going to, or what that unlocking it, let alone finding out what it is, which we may hit that within the next day or so. So I'll be interested to see what they show. I think it'll be separate from what I'm about to predict. But again, if they hit that goal, they said they had 4 tiers, and they're going to hit that still with like close to potentially, just under 40 days left. And it's only been open for 7.
Mhm.
So, and they've blown through. They're going to start adding some things. And what they did is they're going to, there were several tacticians designed as far as color schemes. And we're supposed to vote on what the one is going to be. I don't think they're going to waste those designs. I do think by the end of this campaign, we may get 2 to 3, if not all of those tacticians. Now, that would be crazy. I understand that. And I just got done saying, hey, if you don't get a bunch of figures, quit your bitching. but I do think we're going to get them because this thing is blowing up. I think we'll get at least three.
I agree. When they
total.
when they showed those off of all the different color schemes, I'm like, with how fast this thing's moving, if they don't like do stretch goals like for each one of these at some point, I would be shocked. Just because they've already run out of their they're on the last one, and they even had to say you're gonna have to wait a few days to find out what this is because they didn't intend on showing it off yet.
Guys.
Yeah, I do think that is going to be. I think it's going to be like a missile system that can hook up to the back to it and have its own set of wheels. I think it's going to be that. I think that's going to be a pretty lofty goal, but I think that would then make up for why potentially the first two were a little lackluster, because we're going to be having some moving parts on this one. But I do think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a like an anti-aircraft missile system of some kind.
So let me ask you something. Have they made a classified version of Cobra Commander with his hood instead of his helmet?
They have not. That's been an area of contention. They say they're not going to.
Well, the only reason I ask is because the tease for, you have to wait for the next tier, has a picture of him with that like hood instead of the mask.
You know what? You're right, and I didn't even catch that. Wait, I gotta go look at this.
So to cue Jarmar in, and you probably just go to Hasbro Pulse's Twitter. So they put out a teaser. It doesn't? I thought it did.
No, it does include a cape, though.
Maybe that's what it was. I knew there was something different about it, but I thought it was the hood.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Well, never mind. There goes my theory. That's what I get for not paying a whole lot of attention.
Yeah, because I was going to get really mad at myself for not catching that. But, yeah, I can see where you'd think that, though, just because the way the mask is laying so low.
Well, that and also instantly they posted that, and I saw other people go, maybe we're going to finally get him with the hood and stuff like that. And
yeah. Here's the thing that I don't understand about that. They say it's problematic for a character in this time period to wear a hood.
What?
That is what they say.
And I guess we don't know exactly their intentions or what they mean by that.
I mean, I think we do know, Jarmar.
I think we do know.
That literally can't be.
I 100% believe that it's there you go. Jarmar figured it out. It took him a minute.
Yeah, I'm thinking yeah, that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking of just a long time ago. I mean, we always kind of remember Trayvon Martin, so that's what I thought.
Oh yeah, no.
It was
no, because this is more of this is more like just having a towel over his face with eyes cut out.
Yes, that is very problematic, especially because it is the Cobra Commander. We all know what this means.
Two things though, and you know what? I'll be interested to hear what you think, because if I'm wrong, then I would want you to tell me. My thought process on that, though, one, it's blue. It's not pointed.
That's fair.
And he's a fucking terrorist. In fact,
the last one kind of leads into it.
He's the head of a terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
That's not making this better.
but he's not a good guy.
That's fair. That's fair.
On the good guy.
That's fair.
And if you're wearing a hood on the weekends, I'm sorry, you're a fucking terrorist.
But I guess the thing is, even I mean, this is just kind of where we're at with it. This is obviously not this discussion, but you couldn't make I'll just use this. You couldn't make a Hitler figure and just be well, he's a bad guy. You know what I mean?
I mean, companies have though.
Jamar, I'm gonna take a step back here a second, and I want to ask you a question. How much do you know about G.I. Joe?
I mean, I know the more you know. That's how I know.
That's actually not GI Joe.
That's not.
That's
G.I.
reading
Joe.
Robo.
One to grow on.
Wait, no. What
the
is?
more you know with the star? Knowing is
No,
half
no.
the battle.
Knowing is half the battle. Yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. There we go. I knew it had something to do with knowledge and being power.
I just want to throw this out there, and if I'm uncovering this for the first time for other people, I don't know what to tell you. Have you checked out Cobra and their designs? Maybe especially like Cobra Troopers and such. They always have a very distinct insignia. They have flags. They also have weapons because they're soldiers. They have very interesting HISS tanks that are black tanks.
I'm fully aware of like the Nazi.
Okay.
Right, that's what I mean. But like, you don't want to lean too far into it.
Right. So you kind of blend it and you give him a hood because you're like, yeah, he's a fucker.
I guess if you look at it from that perspective,
because
he's already
my
shit.
flip side of it.
Yeah.
My flip side of it is otherwise they put him in that sweet mirrored helmet and you just go, oh, that's awesome.
Right.
And then you're sympathizing with a Nazi hood wearer.
So I've got two things to throw out here because one,
Okay.
I kind of see both sides of the coin because let's be honest.
Yeah, me too.
You've been in the GI Joe Facebook groups.
I have.
They're not very friendly to
Roadblock.
I've been to JoeCon, and I've certainly had to keep certain things about myself on the down low.
Yes. So sorry if you're a GI Joe fan. It's not all GI Joe fans,
That's true.
but not all of them are as friendly as others.
I'm a perfect example of someone who is.
I mean, we've got Nate, Cantpole, Greg Cook is also a big G.I. Joe guy, and he's not that way. So, like, it's not everybody. But there is a very tight-knit group that has some questionable feelings about things that's...
About Roblox.
Which goes against the idea of the Joe side of things. Because they apparently don't realize who the bad guys are. But here's my question for Jarmar. So if you saw, like you've seen what Cobra Commander looks like with the towel hood thing, right?
Towel hood thing.
So it's not really like a hood. It literally is just
it's
a cloth that just sits on his head with eyes cut out.
Like I've seen that before.
I mean, probably because it's a
You
fucking
quickly,
it's a 40-year-old toy. Look it up real quick.
Google hooded Cobra Commander.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I want you to be able to see
Commander
this for this
kicking a
question I
puppy.
have.
Because if you Google Cobra Commander, yeah, it's a real image. It was my phone background for a long time.
Of course it was.
Again, bad guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let me. So this is probably. I think I already know the answer to this. So let me ask you this, Jarmar. If you saw that action figure on the shelf at Target, would you be offended? That's the question I want to know.
I'm probably the worst person to ask because like it kind of takes a lot to be offended. And I don't like to be offended for other people just because whatnot, and that's just. But I could totally see people looking at it and be like, "Wait, what the fuck is this? Like, wait, what the fuck is this on sale?"
That's fair.
At
That is
Target?"
fair.
Like,
Because if you know it, that's one.
yeah,
If you don't know it, that is enough.
yeah, and that's fair. But you think like, I feel like people know GI Joe, but like. That is like kind of an age thing. Like you can kind of like age out of not knowing or
of course.
Age under,
like
almost
20 and younger probably have no clue. Like,
it would be all over TikTok if they had some dude draped in blue in a hood. TikTok would be like, "What the fuck is Target buying? GI Joe is racist," and it would just blow the fuck up. And it would be hilarious to see that happen.
So
to see
loose.
TikTok versus the Joe community. Oh man,
Oh god,
that's a war I need.
You know
The
what?
hood is so loose that that's the thing I think that makes it look a little problematic. Is that it's kind of
this is fair. And you know
I feel like if anything that would be the opposite. Because I feel like the idea of what we're talking about is it's a sheet that goes all the way over or it like hangs over.
But that's the thing is like this is kind of like it because it's like it's not pointed right.
Mm-hmm.
It's round.
It's rounded.
But then because it flares out, it almost gives you like that look of being.
Yeah, it gives
like,
that pyramid like I guess.
Yeah, it just looks like if he was more like I can't remember a dude from Falcon and Winter Soldier, the
Baron
dude,
Zemo?
Baron Zemo, yeah. So if it
Gotcha.
was more like the,
So let me ask you this: if
not
they
Boston,
didn't do like a sculpt where it was like flowing in the wind and it was a straight down,
that wouldn't look as crazy.
okay,
But it's just the flowy to me makes
Yeah.
me think like, what? There's a specific one. It must have been like one of the classic figures, but he kind of looks purple, and his eyes
Yeah.
are like this thick, and I was like, whoa, okay, that is very, very weird.
Yeah.
So I could kind of understand. There's not really like a modern way to do that without making it questionable.
yeah,
And again, I kind of feel like, you should have a correct depiction of like your childhood. This is, but yeah.
so let me ask you another question here,
This
like a
is
follow
little
up.
too spicy. Is what I was
So let's say they did make it, but it was a alternate head that was just in the package on the side. It wasn't on the figure in the package. Would that change it at
So
all?
I don't think it's so much that I just know the like our culture as a whole right now is like, if you see something, say something, and that's kind of like, it's a good thing. It has its trade-offs, but like, I just feel like that would be on the internet so fast.
Well, that's what I'm asking
so
is like,
fast.
if it
I don't
was
think it
if
would
it was
change it. I
something
just
to the
think the fact
side
that
instead
there's
of being on
figure-
top of it, like, do you think people would notice quite as easily? Because if you see it on the figure, that's
Possibly.
gonna catch your eye instantly. But if it's just in the
Yeah.
side, you might not realize what it is.
That's fair. That's fair. Until someone sees someone posted online
Mhm.
with the head on it, and then it goes back to Target.
Which I
selling
mean,
racist
realistically, I'm surprised
G.I.
no one
Joe
hasn't,
figure.
because most of these GI Joe fans have been buying custom heads of that for
Yeah, but
since
that's
the
a
line
deep-
started.
That's
They
deep.
have-
like
I was actually looking into it this week to do it. Then I would
Your
need
inner
it
GI
painted.
Joe fan is showing.
Yeah.
how
But
many?
I want,
He was never in white though, right?
No.
right. Always
Okay.
dark blue.
Okay.
So much so that sometimes it looks purple. Or sometimes it was black. It was
Yeah.
black
Mhm.
at times. When he's kicking the puppy.
Which I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the black is still questionable because that's like getting to
That's-
some grand.
I was gonna
Wizardry.
say, Grandmaster, he's just a higher level.
I mean,
Oh.
he is the Cobra Commander.
That is true.
I'm
They call it
just saying.
Cobra Magician.
I will
He's
say
not
though,
a
if
wizard.
they do make
He's not
it,
a wizard.
1,000% believe someone would paint it white. 1,000%.
Yeah, that's it. I kind of get it from their perspective of like, if you really, really want it, you can get something custom.
Yep.
We don't really want that because that's only going to be a negative blowback.
Mhm.
Even if they sell a lot of them, if that catches wind, that's gonna
Yeah.
just make them look bad. And I assume that's not their goal.
Yeah. No.
Their goal
No,
is to make
and that
money.
all, and actually, I mean, hearing that makes sense. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think of that like other people who wouldn't know what it is, and that's me having blinders on.
Mhm.
Just because, why doesn't everyone love the property that I also love?
Why doesn't
Right.
everybody
They
love
know
this
about it.
hooded Nazi?
Yeah.
Right. The hooded Nazi with a heart of gold.
I don't think it is extremely problematic, but I think it is just problematic enough to where I don't
Right.
think it will outweigh, like, we're gonna get a lot of blowback, but we're gonna make our fans happy. It's gonna be more like, we're gonna make our friends happy, but then we're gonna get this.
Mhm.
So it's kind of, all right, guys, we can't.
Yeah,
do it.
like I don't blame him
It's
at all
not a-
for not doing it. I was
Yeah.
just curious, like, what if there was any conditions at all where like someone
It
in
would
that
be, like-
scenario might not be offended by it.
Yeah.
Was kind of my thing, is just
And
just
again-
seeing like if there was any like thing, because obviously no matter what you do, hell they fucking put out these Nazi troopers on a regular basis, and I'm surprised that it hasn't triggered somebody, because at this point society is like a powder keg. Like at any point in time, you sneeze the wrong direction, someone's
something like
offended,
explode.
and everyone blows up on either side. So
Yeah.
Yep.
it's
That's-
really a damned if you do, damned if you don't. So you just kind of take the safe, bet and hope that it makes you money.
That's fair. But I mean, it'd be a good idea to throw it into this HISS tank. I'm just checking. Oh man.
And on that, I think we've said everything we need to say.
Yeah, on that
Knowing is half the battle.
very interesting note, Thank you for tuning in. That's gonna be it for this week's podcast.
Let us know what you think though about
Yeah.
that, because honestly, I think this opened good dialogue.
That's true.
It's funny. It's funny how mature we can be about actual things.
Right,
to
when
discuss
we're not
like
talking
this.
about like
Loot
PPs
crates.
and cocaine.
or loot crates.
Oh my god.
Where we're yelling at each other.
Oh wait, if you're referring to earlier when you kept mentioning, was it pegging, and I couldn't hold it in.
Oh yeah, pegging.
I couldn't hold it.
It's
together.
hard to hold in though. It's hard if you're not used to it. It's hard to hold in.
That's very true. You do have to get acclimated to it.
All right. On that note, please make sure to like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments below what your thoughts on the HISS tank are. Let us know what your thoughts are on the whole hood or no hood situation. Also, make sure to follow us
On Cobra Commander specifically.
Yes, yes, yes. Cobra Commander
put that-
specifically.
That is literally the only context we need to
Exclusively
comment.
Yeah.
Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have any sort of other hood in your closet, let's keep that to yourself. I lost my place. Follow us Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Modern Toy Fair. Make sure to check us out Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, twitch.tv/Modern Toy Fair for Wednesday Only Figs, where we go over our weekly toy hauls. And you can always check out the rerun of that here on YouTube as well. Check out Jarmar and Why Are You a Gamer? He has his YouTube channel. He's got his podcast on all major podcast platforms. You can also check him out twitch.tv/Jarmar_games, where he occasionally plays some games and streams them. Nate, what do you got for us this week?
I've got a brand new show starting next week, and it is called Are My Action Figures Racist? And what it is all about is that we're going to take all of my vintage figures that I own, and we're going to take each week, and we're going to take one, and we're going to look at it and be like, let's take a look. Let's look at it
Spoiler
from a
alert.
different lens.
I'm not
You know
gonna
that
lie.
idea? We're copyrighting it.
No, we're not doing that.
Why not? That's a great. That's literally smash or pass. But instead, it's is this racist or is this kosher? Like, I feel like that's a great
that's
fucking
fair.
idea.
If
Woke
it's
or
just
no?
G.I.
Yeah,
Joe,
woke or broke.
Woke or nope?
Yeah, woke or nope. We can, and
Which
it
is
works out
also
perfect
a
because
thing.
we actually have, a black friend who can help us decide if it's racist or not. Because clearly,
Yeah.
there's things that we don't think of as, aging white men. So
that is fair. That's fair. I like
if you're
that.
comfortable with it, I'm all for it.
I'm just gonna say yes.
Oh my
for
God.
everything.
If we do this will be the first time that one of my shows has become a real show.
Right?
Oh my God.
That's a
I
new.
kind of want to
fucking-
do it just for that alone.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about more off air, but yeah.
Oh
if-
yeah, I
if
forgot
you're-
we were still recording.
If you're cool with it, we are 100% doing it because I think it'd be a great thing to add to the recipe of things to go up on Fridays. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you next week. Same toy time, same Toy Fair channel. Thank you for watching.
I was gonna say, is there a Mr. Popo figure?
Oh no.